What's up? So, man, I just got out of Walmart and I was looking for some, the baby food or whatever, and finally got to it. Got to a line to check out. The employee said, "Hey, there's another line opening up. Do you want to go?" Well, there was a guy that was already kind of waiting there, so I told him, I said, "Hey, why don't you go ahead and you go ahead and get that, since you're already waiting there. You know what I mean?" He's like, "Nah, go ahead." I denied it and said, "No, I don't mind going behind you or whatever." Black guy, nice guy. I said, "Nah, man, no, you go ahead and go." So I went, and then while we were in line, he was talking to me, and stuff. He said, "Oh man, you look like a military guy," and I was like, "Well, I'm ex-military. I got out, been out for some months, but yeah, military dude." He's like, "Oh, no, that's cool, whatever, blah blah blah." Then he was like, "Man, shoot, I want to get an ice cream, but I don't want to eat one by myself because I'm gonna feel guilty." He's like, "Pick an ice cream, man." I was like, first of all, I was like, wait a minute, why is a grown-ass man asking me if I want some ice cream? But then he was just like, "Nah, this, it's my gift or whatever. It ain't much, but my way of saying appreciate it, thanks, and stuff like that." And I think that has to do with the greater good, man. Like, I think that your aura, the energy that you carry, I feel like that has a lot to do with how a lot of your life is kind of played out. Not all the time, but keeping positivity in your thinking translates positivity working through you, which gives off that aura. So when you talk to somebody, when you approach somebody, or somebody approaches you, you notice how sometimes you may see a person that looks like they look off-putting, but they look off-putting, but you don't feel that energy from them. And you say something to them, they end up being like the nicest looking person, which is completely opposite of what they look like. I know you've seen people with resting bitch face, and you're just like, "Oh, I wouldn't talk to that person." I think positivity is very, very important. And somebody left a comment on my page yesterday and said something about was talking about depression, and depression is real, man. Depression is real. I told them that I would talk about it, and depression is one of those things where it gets you, man. It gets you. I was on my career path up until last year, May 11th, when I had my first surgery. And I was optimistic. I was super optimistic. Got done with the surgery, had a long recovery. And that recovery ended up getting me separated. Not because I was injured per se, it was just that the timing was so horrible, and they were putting everybody out. The timing was just horrible, and I couldn't physically take my PT tests. I couldn't shoot. I couldn't go to the range. I couldn't shoot. So all that stuff was going to expire, and they wouldn't push it back. And they're looking for opportunities to get people out. So they weren't going to suspend those things, my PT test and my range cards. They weren't going to suspend that because of my surgery and my recovery. They weren't going to do that. So that they basically forced me out. So I was really bitter about that, you know what I mean? And I just had a second surgery back in April, and I just know that from that time that I knew that they were gonna basically force me out, I was left with, from August all the way until December when I got out, when I was forced to get out, I was left with trying to figure out what the hell I was gonna do. And I fell into a very, very deep depression. I mean, if you guys check out my channel, I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, like, what happened to my channel? You know, I was booming with the tech channel, man. I was going so hard with the tech channel, and, you know, everything was going fine. And, you know, my wife kept telling me, you know, before I had the surgery, you know, like, let's concentrate on what we can do if you have to get out. And I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm not hearing that. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. And when it started to happen, you just kind of felt like my world was just crumbling, man. It was just going downhill, man. And depression hit me so bad that, you know, I had thoughts that I had never even thought about before. And you have to also remember that, you know, at the same time, we learned that she was pregnant. My wife was pregnant again. And so I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, like, what the hell? Like, they're putting me out, and we're gonna have a kid around the same time that I'm getting out. My son was born at the end of January 26th. You know, my last day in the Army was December 16th last year, 2016. So I had all this stuff on my mind, man. Like, they're kicking me out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm having another kid, my third kid. Like, I don't know what, you know. No more government health care, none of that stuff. Like, how the hell am I gonna do this? You know what I mean? And man, like, my channel was the first thing to tank, because all of a sudden I had real life problems on my hand. You know, I was thinking about real life stuff. YouTube didn't matter to me at that point. It wasn't paying me what my job was paying me. It just wasn't doing anything. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I was battling depression pretty tough, man. I mean, my wife was going to work. I'm sitting at home because I had 2 months of saved vacation time from the Army, and I took that vacation time from October. I took all the vacation time that I had saved up, and I took off from October all the way to my very last day. So literally, I was technically out of there in October last year. So I had, from October to December was my paid vacation time. And so, you know, I just sat at home. And then in between this time, we moved like 3 times, because we went to one apartment, that apartment flooded. They moved us to a different apartment unit. That flooded, and we moved from there. And we got this house, this townhome that we're in now, thank goodness. And this was all happening between end of October to December when I was getting out. So I'm freaking out, right? I'm freaking out because I'm like, we don't even have a place to stay. If this baby decides to come, I'm shit out of luck. I'm sitting at home. Only thing that I could muster to do was fucking play video games. So I was live streaming like almost every day, and trying to just avoid the reality, man, and applying for jobs, and I could not get a job call to save my life. Couldn't. I mean, couldn't get one. And then finally I did have a job offer from a company, a contract company, but it was a contingency offer because they were bidding with other bidders for the contract. So it was a contingencies, meaning we'll pay you this if we get the contract. If we don't get the contract, then there's no job. So that went on all the way until February. They kept pushing it back. We haven't heard anything yet. So now I'm really sweating bullets because they told me in December that, you know, I had a job offer that could have started in January. Then that pushed back all the way to February. And then they called me and said, hey, sorry, we didn't get the contract, no job. So now, you know, I'm just like, dude, God, I give up. I've done everything that I could. I don't know how many jobs I've applied to. I give up. And literally the next day, that's when I got a call for my current job now, working at the same place I was working at when I was in uniform before I got out. The same place, doing the same exact thing. So I took it. And, that was God's way of saying, don't ever give up. You know what I mean? And that was truly, besides my son being born, that was truly the first time that I was optimistic about anything, because, like I said, I got the call the day before my son was born that I wasn't going to get that first job offer. And then the next day, I got called for an interview for the job that I have now. And then the same day as I'm in the interview, in the same hospital, my wife is giving birth to my son. So very strange, but it worked out, you know, and that gave me a little bit of boost, man. It was late, but you know, God's always on time. I've just taken it and ran with it, you know what I mean? So, and I slowly built my confidence back up. And one of the main things that helped me was this, going back to the vlogs. I literally stopped almost everything. And vlogs to me, shooting vlogs and shooting tech videos was something that really gave me inspiration. It just gave me like a freedom of expression. You know, it was expression. And I picked the vlogs back up, and I didn't necessarily pick up the tech again, because I started reevaluating everything that was going on in my life. And I just at the time, I felt like I like to do tech, but you know, the way I'm going right now, it's not doing anything for me. I'm tired of just doing what I've been doing. So I just continue with the vlogs, and because it makes me happy, and it allows me to try to get some, you know, my feelings off my chest, talk about things that I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it helps to me. It helps. But yeah, man, I mean, battling depression, man, it's a very, very tough thing to do. You know, I was going to go get medication and all this stuff. And, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just going to try to beat this. And when you're in a hole, man, it's so hard to see any light. You know what I mean? So the way things have been going now have been perfect. Not perfect, but they have been good. And sometimes when I try to slip back into that bad thought process, I just try to remember things that help me. And I try to do things and think different ways that won't lead me back into that same place. You know, it is what it is, man. There's gonna be problems everywhere you go. There's gonna be problems at any job you work at, in any career field you have, anywhere you go, you're gonna have issues in that workspace. So you can't, you know, I try not to get down when things don't go necessarily my way all the time, or I think things are going on that are kind of out of my control. I just give it to God, man, and just move on. That's why I keep telling you guys, ultimately, I want to do this full time. STEAM it full time. STEAM it. YouTube. All the things that I like creating is what I really want to do full time. And STEAM it has been the platform, like I said, that has absolutely given me a ray of hope. Just a ray of hope that says this could be it. This could be for you. Because I've been searching for something. Searching so hard. And I feel like it could be one piece of the puzzle that helps me reach my financial freedom, that helps me reach and do what I want to do, and be completely happy with what my choices are in life. You know what I mean? So, again, I know if you stuck around this long for the video, thank you. But again, guys, depression is something that you got to talk about. It's something that you got to deal with, and you have to just cut the negative behaviors that associate with it. It's like not smoking, wanting to quit cigarettes. When you quit cigarettes, it's not just about physically stopping the quitting of the cigarettes. You have to stop the habits and associations that evolve around you smoking cigarettes. Like when you smoke cigarette after dinner, why do you do that? So now you got to think about what you're doing at dinner time or after dinner time that makes you want to smoke a cigarette. You know, you got to change some things, do something different. When you're out drinking with friends or socializing, you know, don't smoke a cigarette, do something else. It's just different things, or don't go out until you can get it under control. Things like that, you got to associate. That's what I do with depression. Things happen, I make changes. And I just try to keep the positivity in my head, because when you think positivity, it goes through the body. And you produce that. You put that off. That brings me back to that whole thing where, like I just said, I started off the story. That guy, he felt the positivity for me. And sometimes you don't even know that you're giving off that kind of positivity, but for somebody, a complete stranger, to talk to you and even offer you anything of his, just the gift of offering somebody something is better than receiving. You know what I mean? And when somebody feels that comfortable with doing that, that means you're putting off an aura that says to that person, man, this is a good person. And that's how I try to think every day. So positivity thinking 101. I'm gonna school y'all, what I do anyway. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's, everybody goes through it. Or I say everybody, but I know I went through it really, really bad. I had it really, really bad, and I'm beating it. I'm crawling out of that. You know what I mean? Not out of the woods yet. I still have my moments, but this helps. So keep supporting me, guys. I appreciate it. Everything that you do. Everything that I post, man, on STEEM, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I have plans. I have plans for everything. Everything. Every little dollar amount, everything that I see, I have plans for that to set me free from financial ruin. You know what I mean? Like I have plans to get me to where I need to be, and so every post, I feel like I'm putting myself out there to be judged, putting myself out there to be evaluated, reviewed. But all I can do is just put me here on this tape and let you do what y'all do. And I'm glad I have a platform to do that. So thank you. And I need to go buy a lottery ticket. I forgot. Damn it. Anyway, guys, I will catch you in a little bit. Make sure you do your thing. Love you guys. Peace.